Most of your profit doesn't come from the first order. It comes from the second, third, and fourth. And if you don't have a system to bring people back, you're going to be stuck on the customer acquisition treadmill. Now in this video, I'm going to be breaking down the exact post-purchase flow that we use to turn one-time buyers into loyal customers for our 7- and 8-figure clients. I'll be walking you guys through our exact flow structure. I'm going to share examples of every email within this flow and then teach you how to set this up on Klaviyo. So if that sounds like something you need, then this video is for you. So with that being said, let's get started. All right, so before we begin, I think it's important to have a bit of a reality check. Now, here is the hard truth. Most e-com brands are addicted to customer acquisition. Most brands, they spend anywhere from tens of thousands to hundreds of thousands every single month into paid ads, so Meta ads, Google ads, TikTok ads, to hopefully win a customer. But once someone buys from them for the first time, there's no real follow-up and there's no actual effort made to bring the customer back. Now, real businesses have a clear system to retain the customers that they've already paid for. Customer acquisition is so expensive and it's getting more and more expensive every single year. So if you have no real way of bringing customers back after their first ever purchase with you, then you are setting yourself up for failure. Now, your goal should be to turn one-time buyers into brand advocates, and it starts with what you send after the sale. So this is about 400 website visitors right now. And for every 400 visitors, you're going to get about 12 customers. So that's about a 3% conversion rate. Now, your customer return rate on average is around 20 to 25%. So that means for every 400 customers, you're getting around 3 customers that actually end up placing an order for the second time. Now this, as you can tell, is a very expensive machine. And if you have no real way of bringing customers back, you're just going to be constantly spending thousands and thousands of thousands right here at the top of the funnel, and it's going to cost you a ton in the long run. So the goal should be, of course, you want acquisition, but you need to be doing everything you can to keep your customers coming back for more and increasing this ratio here. So your customers to your returning customer ratio. And nothing, in my opinion, does a better job at bringing customers back than email marketing. Now, the post-purchase flow is, of course, the first set of emails that a customer gets after they place an order with you. Now, here are Klaviyo benchmarks for the post-purchase flow. As you can see, they have incredibly high engagement. They actually have the highest engagement of any other flow on Klaviyo. And they also have a substantially higher conversion rate than your typical campaigns. So on average, their average open rate is over 50%, but the top 10% of brands actually get an open rate of 74% on average. And in terms of place order rate, the average place order rate, which is a conversion rate on a post-purchase flow, is 0.4%. But the top 10% of brands actually get a place order rate on average of 2%, which means that the top 10% of brands actually get a 4 times higher conversion rate than just the average brands. Now, we can already see the potential here with a flow with such high engagement, and even the average brands get a higher place order rate than your typical campaign. Now, what happens if you don't have this dialed in correctly? Now, for a store that isn't optimized for repeat purchases, we already know you're going to be losing money every single day. Now, we've all heard the stat, it costs 5 times more to acquire a new customer than it does to keep an existing one. Now, this is what this actually looks like. Now, I've got some numbers here. I'm going to walk you guys through them. So this is for an average brand, a typical brand. Let's say their average order value is $100. And let's say their gross margin is 60%, which means that they cost them about $40 to produce a product that they are selling. That gives us a gross profit of $60. So that means it costs $40 to make, $60 is profit on a $100 product. Now, the cost of acquisition, which means the cost to acquire that customer through ads. So I use an average ROAS of 3x, and an average ROAS of 3x means it costs around $33 to find that customer, which means your gross profit after your acquisition cost is $26. If that customer just comes back for one more purchase, your gross profit increases exponentially. So as we can see, for the second purchase, obviously the price is going to be the same, the gross margin is going to be the same, the gross profit is going to be the same, but now we don't have that acquisition cost because we already acquired them on that first purchase. So if they just come back for a second purchase, that's going to be pure profit of $60. With your gross profit is going to be the entire $60, which is double that of your first purchase. So if you want to calculate the lifetime profit of the customer, it actually ends up being this plus this, which is going to be around $86, which is going to be an incredible impact if you can do that over a large group of customers. So as you can see, the profit for the first purchase is around $26, but if they place a second order, it's going to be $60. And every order after that, it's going to keep getting more and more profitable. So just by having a second repeat purchase, it turns a low profit customer into a cash printer. doubling your gross profit after the cost of acquisition. So if you're not optimizing for that second purchase, then you're going to be spending a ton on paid ads and you're just going to be wasteful with the customers that you acquire. All right, so what is the post-purchase flow? So I already explained that it's the set of emails that get sent to the customer after they place an order on your store. And there are two key goals for this flow. The first one is to build trust, loyalty, and brand affinity. So having the right sequence of emails is going to help you reinforce your brand values, reduce your returns by educating customers on how to actually use a product, encourage reviews, referrals, and loyalty programs. And the biggest thing of all is you want to make the customer feel like they are a part of something, not just a transaction to you. And the second main goal is that you want to drive repeated purchases efficiently. You want to re-engage customers while their intent and satisfaction is high. You want to introduce cross-sells and replenishment offers, and you want to do everything you can to nudge that second purchase because as we already know, that is where the real profits begin. So here are a few examples of a post-purchase flow email. As you can see, this one is a brand called Sunday. So it says your natural nutrition is headed your way. So they've got just a bit of info about the brand, and then they've got some testimonials down below, which really reinforces to the customer that this product is going to work. And they get this email before the product even arrives. Here is another example for a different brand. This email would typically be sent after the product has already arrived, and they're basically asking customers to take photo and post their brand on Instagram. So all these emails are going to get sent at different points for the customer journey. So don't worry if you're confused. I'm going to walk you guys through the exact flow structure. So let's go through the structure of this flow. So in total, this flow has around 6 emails. And each email has its own purpose. But generally speaking, this is what the journey looks like for the customer. So at the start, we want to focus on trust. So of course, we're going to send an order confirmation email. We're going to focus on our brand values, and we can even do a soft upsell. Then we want to focus on education in a subsequent email. So how the customer can get the most out of their products before they arrive. Next, after the products arrive, we want to start focusing on engagement. So we invite them to our social media, share our customer community. And then the fourth goal is monetization. So we want to do cross-sells, bundles, and timed replenishments. And lastly, we want to focus on advocacy. So things like customer reviews, ask for user-generated content, loyalty, and referral invites. So at a glance, these are the key pillars that we're focusing on. So each of these emails will try to achieve at least one of these goals. So let me show you what the exact flow structure looks like. So the flow starts by someone placing an order. So that will be our trigger. Then immediately what we want to do is we want to split up people who haven't purchased with us before. So brand new customers versus returning customers. So if someone hasn't purchased with us before, then they're going to get sent down this route. But if they have purchased with us before and they're a returning customer, then they're going to get sent down this route. Now, I'm just going to get this out of the way. So if someone has ordered more than 3 times, it just says 3, but basically what I'm trying to do is anyone who you would deem a VIP customer. So if someone has ordered more than 3 times, or if they've ordered more than 10 times, whatever you think would be your top 10, 15% of customer base, you want to do a split. Basically, if they're above that threshold, then you want to send them through something called the VIP flow. So I've actually got a separate video about the VIP flow. I'll pin it up in the top right-hand corner. But yeah, so if you don't have that set up, or if you don't know how to set up, or if you don't have time to set that one up, basically you can ignore this side of things and just have a simple split. So it's going to be ordered before, no, is going to be this route. And if they have ordered, doesn't matter how many times they've ordered, you can just send them down this route. So I hope that makes sense. Now, the actual emails that they're going to get are actually pretty similar, but there's just small variations in some of the emails. So the main email that's going to be different is email 1, which is going to be as soon as someone places an order, if they haven't purchased from us before, you want to say, give them a big thank you. And you can add some social proof to make them feel confident that the product that they've just purchased is going to work. And you can also add an upsell here because they're already in that buying mindset. Now, alternatively, if they have ordered from us before, it's going to be a very similar email, but you want to change the copy to just let them know that we know that they've purchased from us before and we appreciate them for coming back. So it's just going to be thanks for coming back. So as you can see, I've just labeled this email 1A and this is email 1B. So the next 3 emails for either side are pretty much going to be the exact same. So you can pretty much just clone them and paste them on the other side. So what's going to happen next is 3 days later, we're going to send an educational email. And the focus of this email is going to be to teach the customer exactly how to get the most out of the products that they have just purchased. So if you have an e-commerce brand that has a range of different products and a lot of different collections, then you will want to split this up based on the collections. But if you just have one sort of hero product or 2 hero products, then of course you want to have this split up based on the exact products that the customer has bought. Basically, we want to educate them to teach them how to get the most out of their product. And again, it's going to be the same email, whether they've purchased from us before or not. Email 3 is going to be cross-sell suggestions. So this is going to be 5 days after the product has actually been delivered. So not 5 days after email 2, it's going to be 5 days after the product has actually arrived for the customer. What we want to do is cross-sell. So basically, you just purchase X and Y goes really well with X. So basically you just want to say, hope you're loving what you just bought. Based off what you've just purchased, we think this product will really complement it well. So again, this email is going to be pretty much the same for either one. So, and email 4 is going to be a review request. Now, the only difference that I've added between a new customer and returning customer is for returning customers, you can also ask them to tag you guys online on social media if you want to do that as well. But you want to have a review request email no matter what. Now, email 5 and 6 are going to be only for brand new customers. And basically what we want to do is we want to wait about 45 days. Now, this time delay might again vary based on the products that you sell. For example, if you sell skincare, that typically lasts for around, let's say, 2 to 3 months. Then, of course, you want to give the customer an opportunity to use up their entire product before they place their second order. But if you sell something that's, for example, like fitness or protein shakes, that every 30 days they need to stock up. So again, you want to wait a certain period of time before sending the subsequent email. And that email is going to be giving them a flash offer to hopefully get them to place their second order. So of course, this email only gets sent if they haven't yet placed a second order. And then 2 days later, you want to give them a last chance email to up the urgency if they still haven't placed an order. So what we've done is we've really gone out of our way to really do everything we can to hopefully get the customer to place their second order with us. And that again, of course, is going to only be in this column. So that's pretty much it with this entire flow structure. The purpose of this was just to show you kind of at a glance of what this flow looks like. Now I've got much more granular details later on in this video. So I've got examples of every single email within this flow so you know what these emails should look like. But before that, let's get into what makes an elite post-purchase flow. So I've already got this strategy completely built into the flow structure that I've shared. So if you just follow that, then this tip is already going to be taken care of. Now, the next one is you want to tailor by product category. Now, we want the customer to pretty much know everything about their product before it arrives. So then they can have the best experience possible when it comes to using their products. So we want to include educational emails like how-to guides, unboxing instructions, tutorial videos, usage tips, and best practices so then they can reduce misuse or confusion. Now, since these customers are going to be the most engaged to emails at this point, this is going to be the best opportunity to teach them on how to get the most out of their product. And lastly, the flow cadence and timing. Now, we want to ensure that the messages that they receive is matched to real-time customer milestones. Now, generally, you're going to have these emails that get sent over a 30 to 45 day period, and it's going to start when the item is ordered, and you want to space these emails strategically. You want to have a heavy upfront, which means that the first few days should be heavily loaded with the emails. It's going to be the first 7 to 10 days, and it's going to get much lighter as time goes on. And for some of those emails, you want to have delivery-based logic. For example, we want to wait until after delivery to ask for a review, and we want to send review requests only once the product has been in hand for at least 7 to 10 days. Now, I said lastly before, but I forgot there was a third one that I had written down, and that is that you want to use a third-party platform for your reviews. Now, you want to be able to collect reviews during this period. It is one of the most important parts of this experience. And to collect and utilize your customer reviews effectively, you need to use a third-party software. That I recommend is just use Klaviyo Reviews, since you can just keep everything under one house. But if you want to use other platforms, you can. Just remember that you will need to integrate them within Klaviyo. So other popular platforms that I use for our clients are JudgeMe, Reviews.io, Looks, and Yotpo, but I would say Klaviyo Reviews is probably my favorite. Now, these are some examples of some review request emails, but now I'm going to walk you guys through every single email in this flow. So email 1 is going to be thanks for your order. And as you can see, we have a split between new customers and returning customers. So the actual email is pretty similar throughout, but the copy at the top is going to be completely different. So in this example, it says, thank you for trusting us with your car care. Basically, your car is about to look absolutely the best, and we can't wait for you to see that flawless glossy shine. And then for someone who's already shopped with us before, we say thank you for choosing us again. Your order is confirmed and ready to ship. Your car deserves the best, and so on and so forth. And basically, we just want to let them know that we know that they're a returning customer and we appreciate them for coming back. At the bottom, we've got some upsells of some best sellers. So you can actually dynamically populate this based on the exact products that the customers bought, but this is an example of what it should look like. And let's get to email 2. Email 2 is going to be product education. So in this example, the customers bought swimwear. So we want to share tips on exactly how to best take care of their products so they don't have any issues with wear and tear. So we've got the exact step-by-step instructions. Now for this product, the customer has bought socks. So it's the same story here. It's how to take care of your socks to make sure you get the most out of them so you don't end up destroying them. Now, there are going to be plenty of other examples if you have, for example, skincare. It's how to actually effectively apply it or how often you should apply it. Whatever product you sell, you probably get frequently asked questions, or you probably have things that you really want the customer to know when they start using it, so then they don't have any issues with using the product. The next email is our cross-sell email. So here the customer's already received the products and we want to start selling them other options. So as we can see, we say, you've picked the perfect piece and we're obsessed with your taste. So we've handpicked more styles that pair perfectly with your recent find. So here we're going to be dynamically populating products that are frequently purchased with the customer's first ever purchase. And we've shared some examples down below. And it's the same story for the next example. It says your next favorite meal might be right here. So basically, again, we're just sharing more examples of products that are frequently purchased together. Now, email 4 is going to be your review request email, or you can even do a UGC request. So in this first example, we said, how do we do? And we've gotten the option for the customer to leave a review. And then down below, we have a section that says, want to sweeten the deal? We'll send you a $20 voucher if you include a photo, or a $50 voucher if you share a short video about your experience. So here we're actually incentivizing the customer to post online or share a review with a photo on the online store. So this is a really cool way of leveraging your customer experience. And then in the next example, it says, love that fit, tell us how you feel. And then we've got some prompts to hopefully get them thinking about how the product really benefited them. And then of course, we've got a CTA for the customer to leave a review. Now, email 5, as I mentioned, is only going to be sent to new customers. This is an example. It's not my favorite design, but just so you understand what the vibe should be, basically saying your exclusive voucher is here. You placed an order recently. Here is £30 off for your next order. And you basically want to let them know that they've got a voucher, and you also want to let them know that it's going to expire after an X amount of times. You don't want these offers to last more than 3 to 4 days. And you want to keep the email straight and to the point. And then the final email, if they still haven't purchased, is going to be a last chance email. So you want to pretty much say either your offer ends tonight or it ends in 24 hours. And here are some examples of what that email can look like. So if they need to use a code, you can add the code, or if it auto applies, you can just let the customer know to just click through and it'll auto apply to their discount. Down below in this one, we've also added some cross-selling. So giving the customer some actual options of what they can buy. And that's pretty much it. So next, I'm going to show you guys how to set this flow up in Klaviyo. All right, so for the post-purchase flow, we're going to click on flows on the left and click create flow on the top right. And we're going to search for post-purchase. Here we go. It's the first one. So post-purchase follow-up, and then it says order count split, and it's the Shopify trigger. So that's the one. I'm just going to simplify this whole name, just call it post-purchase flow, and then click create flow. Okay, so the first thing you'll notice is that the flow is actually split up a few times, and it's based on how many times the customer has placed an order with you in the past. So pretty much what it's going to be is the flow goes after someone places an order, and if it's their first ever order, then this email will trigger. But if it's not their first ever order, by default, it's got if it's their second order, it'll be this one. If it's their third order, it'll be this one. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to delete the whole third order stuff that's going on. And I'm just going to split between if it's the customer's first ever purchase or if it's they've placed an order before. And this is what we're going to do. So for a new customer, we're going to change it up a little bit. So, welcome to the brand and welcome to the family and thank you for your first ever purchase. And then the repeat customer email is going to be more of a thanks for coming back. And basically just rewarding them for their loyalty and saying thank you. And then the subsequent emails are pretty much going to be the exact same. So what we can do is just whenever you design this email, you can just duplicate it. So just click the word clone and then follow that, move that back over to this side as well. So pretty much pretty easy to do. So for example, we're going to delete this one. So we're going to design this email for email number 2, and then it's going to pretty much be the exact same. So we'll just clone it over and then paste it there. And that's pretty much it. Thank you so much for making it this far. I really do appreciate your time. Now, if you haven't subscribed to this channel, please consider subscribing. It goes a very, very long way for our channel. And like this video and share it with a friend if you think it will be valuable to them. Thank you so much again. I'll see you guys in the next video. See ya.